Hey y'all, my name is Ann Wyatt. I started my career in workforce development with the state of Kentucky in 2010. That experience ignited a deep passion for manufacturing within me. I started this show hoping to raise more awareness around the bright outlook manufacturing careers have. Join me as I sit down with some of the manufacturing industry's most successful changemakers and learn how they're partnering people with technology. It's time to give people more meaningful work. This is Workforce 4.0. Hey y'all, welcome back to another special episode of Workforce 4.0. This is your host, Ann Wyatt. I am so excited to be here for the second episode with Horn USA in Franklin, Tennessee. Today, we're going to be talking a lot about the innovation behind the products here at Horn, and I'm joined here with some of their sales team today. Hi y'all, how are you?
Good, doing well.
Doing good.
And I've got Todd, Eric, and Brian with us today, and they're going to take part in this panel-style conversation about what is really exciting about Horn products and also how you're collaborating across the board with your customers, your suppliers, and other business relationships. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to each of you all. Could you please introduce yourselves for our audience here today?
My name's Todd DeMeyer. I've been with Horn 6.5 years now. I did over 20 years in manufacturing metalworking before I came to Horn. And I really enjoy Horn because I've always thought that they sold the best product when I was a user of the product. So it gives me a real advantage in my role at the company as the Southeastern Regional Sales Supervisor. I continue just to support the customers in the Southeast and the team that works with me. And I'm happy to be here.
Excellent.
My name's Eric Carbone. I live in northern Indiana, and I've been in the cutting tool business for 25 years. I've been in cutting tool sales. And one of the things I really enjoy about working for Horn is a very diversified product and a niche product and the ability to solve issues for customers. That's my favorite thing about it.
Hello, my name is Brian Winterlin. I'm an application sales engineer up in the Minnesota, North Dakota territory. I've been in metalworking for just shy of 30 years now. I really enjoy working with Horn. I really like the people. There's a great group of sales guys, as well as our inside, our tech support. I mean, they're top notch, and they're just a really great group of people to work with and super supportive.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, gentlemen, so much for that. And I'm not sure if you know this, but I was up here last week as well recording the first episode for this podcast series. And I was absolutely blown away by the process of the manufacturing plant here and the quality of tools that you're making. And beyond that, it was really cool to see some super niche products that I wouldn't have normally seen anywhere else that are 100% unique to you all. And that's got to be super exciting for you all because it's really shining a light on the innovation, right? So I guess my first question to start us off here today is what your thoughts are on the innovation of the product and what does that mean to you? As representatives of the company when you're going out and you're working with customers and selling them your product?
For me, the innovation is it's a big part of our process and our goal to be as innovative as our customers that use our tools because they're always trying to make a better product. So we have to make a better way to manufacture it faster and more cost effective. With our ability to manufacture in the U.S. and all our development and coatings and manufacturing our own carbide. And then, like Brian said earlier, our team is very technical, so we're able to look at a process maybe differently than our competitors can. And we can come up with new ideas or new ways to do things to save the customer time and money. And our innovations give us that ability to do that quickly and with a very high quality product.
Excellent.
Yeah, I would agree with everything Todd said. What I would add to that, though, is, one of the nice things about Horn is we're always developing new grades, new coatings to run faster, to reduce people's cycle times. And, when you're competing in a global market for manufacturing, with all the restrictions in the U.S. and the pay and all that over the overhead, the only way really we can compete in manufacturing is to make parts faster than our competitors. And so that's what I enjoy doing, is going out helping my customers to to reduce their cycle times and be more profitable.
I completely agree. And then to add on to that as well, I would say we ask a lot of questions before, especially with our specials or our unique tooling solutions for our customers. We ask tons of questions on the front side of it. We work with our inside people as well to come up with some very unique tools and get it right the first time. A lot of times our competitors, they may beat us to the punch, but it ends up coming back at the end. I have a customer, and he's got the tagline for Horn across his shop is, "We go to Horns because it just works." So when it seems like whenever our competitors stumble, they end up coming to Horn in the end, and they're like, "Yes, because we know it's going to work." And that's can be kind of the frustrating side of it as well, is why didn't we start there? But we do put a lot of thought into our products before it hits our customers. We want to make sure that it's going to work, especially working with our German counterparts. It's amazing. We send them what we think is all the answers that we would need, and they're like, well, what about this or what about that? So it makes it really beneficial to our customers to ask the questions up front to make sure the product works right from the get-go.
So can you all tell me in your own words, because I know that Horn has a very specific and high-level customer experience, but can you all kind of go over that with us today and share what that looks like? Maybe from the start of a customer placing an order to when they receive the final product.
Yeah, the customer experience typically from the beginning is if they have a part or a print or something that they need a special tool for, or even just a standard tool, is to reach out to us, and then we can come in and evaluate the print, the part, the material, the machine, everything about the process, from the coolant to even the age of the machine tells us a lot. So we will collect that information. We put that together in our system to send to our technical office with all the details, what we want, the part print, and our ideas on how we want it done. And we collaborate with our technical team if we can use different series or different types of tools to do the same process. And we will pick through which one we think is really going to be the number one solution for them right off the bat. And once the quote's started, we do have a system that we call HTC that's rolled into everything from quote tool design to manufacturing at the machine.
And that is
yes, that is a software that we developed with us and some of our other suppliers for softwares and stuff. So that was something that we did on our own as an innovation. It gives us the ability to quote a tool. And when that tool is quoted and designed, the program that's made, or the program's already made for the machine to manufacture the tool. So in some situations, you can get a quote and an order and the program's done, and you could be manufacturing that tool within a day or two. And it doesn't take any additional processes. You don't have a guy that has to sit down and draw the whole tool. The software does it through the quote process. And then you don't have to have a guy that programs the machine using a separate software. It all does it itself, takes a couple of minutes. We do a demo here. We did one downstairs, and it was 15 minutes from what the tool we wanted. We entered this information, tool was designed, the program was created, and it was on the machine downstairs by the time we walked out of the conference room to the demo room.
Yeah, so to add to that, Todd, I think just went over the process of how everything works. But the reason why all this is important is because when you're quoting a special tool for a customer, the biggest thing they're looking at is delivery and lead time on the tool.
Yep.
So to be able to turn the quote around fast and to turn the tool around fast is what normally gets you the order. People usually looking at specials don't have a lot of time to get them in most cases. So speed is everything in that case.
Excellent.
Yeah, and to continue on with that, I mean, as far as here in Tennessee, like Todd had just mentioned, we're able to go in and design this tool, go downstairs and actually have that particular tool or the program, everything done for that grinding, coating right here in the U.S. We're growing and growing here in Franklin. We're adding grindings all the time. We're adding machines. We're adding capabilities. We put in our own coating capabilities here not that long ago, so we can reduce that lead time. And And we're talking a matter of five business days to 2 weeks from the time that we able to get that drawing approved by our customer. That's something, again, where in the process or in the quoting process, we're able to give our customer that design drawing right off the get-go. So they can look at it and say, yeah, this is exactly what I'm looking for. This is going to be perfect. They can sign up and say, yes, we approve this, and we can move right into that manufacturing process the next day if need be. So it is something that it is a great innovation program, literally a program to be able to get this done again here in the U.S.
That's amazing. And what does it mean to you all to be able to own so much of the process here in the U.S. and completely make the product here in the U.S.?
It puts a lot of confidence in your ability to sell the tool, I believe, because you really understand what goes into it. So you're confident enough to promise the customer that we are going to give you the best possible solution that's going to save you the most money. So knowing the process so well and how well it's maintained and how closely everything is looked at and how well we do our job here as a team just really gives you the confidence to walk into a customer and say and not be worried at all that what I'm suggesting is going to work perfectly.
Another thing about being made in the U.S. is direct communication with the people that are designing the tool, grinding the tool, quoting the tool. I feel we have pretty good communication with our colleagues in Germany, but they're 7 hours difference than we are. So,
Sure.
It's nice to just be able to call here and the guy in our tech department can go down and talk to the guy on the grinder and see what's going on with the tool. And again, that's part of that small company feel in a big company where you have the ability to get answers quick and actually get things done.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. We literally can have somebody, if I'm having a problem or I need an update on where is this? I can literally call inside. They can pick up from their desk, walk over to the shop, to inspection, to whatever department they need to, and get back to me inside of 10 minutes. So I can get back to my customer to say, hey, this is where we're at. This is what we can expect. Or, hey, we need to expedite this a little bit. Can we do that? I can get that answer right away. It is such a close-knit group of folks down here that we can get those answers, and it just helps our customers in the end. And they're more confident when we're confident in the product. I mean, we get German technology and American innovation. I mean, what better combination can you get, right?
I love it. I love that. And yeah, last week we were recording in the training center downstairs. And this week we're actually upstairs in the bigger conference room. And you can see behind us are the flags in the background. We've got the U.S. flag, of course, the Tennessee flag, and the German flag, which is a very cool shot here if you all were here with us today. So that's amazing because to me right now, with the global climate being kind of tighter, tensions are higher, right? So it's always great to hear those success stories when you can kind of cross the aisle and work, as a global company with other global companies. And I guess, Eric, I have a question for you specifically.
Okay.
When you were talking a little bit more about being able to deliver your products quickly, last week, we also spoke with Michael Maxwell, the operations manager here, and he was kind of explaining a little bit more to me about what makes that process feasible for your customers. But do you ever get like this element of surprise when you all are out selling to customers in your experience and you tell them what the cycle time is for their product turnaround?
Yeah, to be honest, I think sometimes we can do pretty good on lead times, but in the reality of the market anymore is you're never fast enough getting the tools. If you can do it in 2 weeks, they want it in a week. If you can do it in a week, they want it in 2 days.
Oh, sure.
So you're always being asked to expedite, even on an expedited delivery, you're asked to expedite. But I think a lot of that is because customers are put under so much stress now with delivery times to their customers that it's a tough game. And but Horn does offer some solutions for that on certain products we call Solutions Plus, where we can deliver tools guaranteed in 2 weeks for custom parts. And in tools made in the U.S., we're typically 3 to 4 weeks. So, but we can also expedite those. So it just depends on the customer and the need. But sometimes they're surprised, but sometimes everything you can do still, I mean, being honest, just isn't enough, and they still need more. But Horn is probably one of the best companies out there at being able to deliver product. And a lot of the reason for that is Horn's not a real small company. We're fairly big now, but it still has that mom and pop shop type of feel to it, where you can talk to people at the top of the chain here and actually get action if you've got a customer that has a serious need. So that's definitely an advantage of working for Horn and the ability to be able to deliver product in certain situations. So it's kind of a roundabout answer, but we can do a pretty good job on that. So
Yeah, I was surprised when I was talking to Michael last week, and he told me what the lead time was on your products. And I thought, oh, that's really quick, right? So that's amazing. And Brian, I have a question for you on the topic of the level of innovation that you provide for your customers as well. I know that when you were answering kind of in the beginning there to the first part of this question, you were going into more detail about that innovation and about the quality and aspects of that. Could you tell me a little bit more about a time when maybe you kind of exceeded a customer's level of expectation?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a customer where they've got a part and there's a lot of small channels and small grooves that go in across the top of this particular part. And it's not real big. It's maybe 8 inches by 8 inches. But they absolutely have to have a burr-free edge. So there can be no burrs that roll inside of these channels. And it also requires a sharp edge. So we can't go back in and deburr it. We can't use a blasting solution or anything like that. So we actually ended up going in with a MCD cutter, so a monocrystalline diamond face mill. Now, the finish requirement on it doesn't need to be a mirror finish. It doesn't have to be, shiny. It just has to be burr-free, and it has to be very flat. Well, anybody who's had an opportunity to see the MCD product when they're all said and done, it makes acrylics clear. It makes an absolute mirror finish. So when we applied this, it gave them a virtually perfectly flat surface and a burr-free solution as an off-the-shelf item. So it blew the customer's mind when he actually saw the part when it was done, because it was a mirror finish and there was literally no burrs across the entire part. And we were able to hit it right from the get-go. It was, here's the parameters we need you to run. This is what we're going to come off with. And it worked perfect right from the get-go. So that was actually pretty exciting.
I love that. I love hearing like good customer stories. I feel like that's a big part. People are this business in manufacturing. And I feel like when you can get those great customer experiences, that solidifies, why we're doing this, right? So I love that. Thank you for sharing. And Todd, I have to ask you about your experience working as a customer and then coming on and working for Horn directly. What was that like? Was that a big transition for you? Was that intentional, that job move?
The job move was semi-intentional. It was always something that I had been offered over the years as I was an engineer by competitors of Horn, and it was always something that I was interested in. I felt like I would be good at it at the time, and I was in automotive manufacturing for over 15 years, which is a high-stress,
yes,
very high-paced
yes, environment.
And so a guy here was my Horn guy for 10 years. And we got to talking about it, and it was a big change. It's the difficulties are there in the manufacturing, which is why I love it, because I still get to use my technical and my engineering background to support the customers and their needs and what they're looking for, and I can suggest things that maybe they don't understand, maybe haven't seen before, that I have because I have so much experience cutting steel before becoming before coming to work for Horn in sales. And there are some obstacles getting new accounts and convincing people that our product is the leading product for their operation and that we can have real good successes with it. To kind of piggyback on that, on impressing a customer, I finished a test last week where we competed against ourselves from an old coating to our newest IG coating, and the tool life was 100 pieces, and when we finished, it was 3,000.
Wow.
So that is an upside because I know the product's a premium product that we can always do well in. So yeah, there's it's great. I love working for Horn, and it was a great decision.
I love to hear that as well. Well, I know that this is the first time that we've met was today, but I don't know if you know this about me, but I have this podcast called Workforce 4.0. I focus mostly on people and technology and the future of work, because I think that it's really critical that we examine that in manufacturing and we push towards a more collaborative future between people and technology. But in kind of face of innovation, in the face of the future of industry, what are your all's thoughts on how critical collaboration is? Whether that be with your customers, whether that be with suppliers, whether that be, you know, on a floor, maybe working with the technology.
It's extremely important, and that's somewhere where I believe Horn kind of leads the way on that. If you're in a customer and you have an application where we have a tool that performs well, but maybe not as well as we would like, we can come up with another option, maybe a new coating, maybe a different substrate of carbide, maybe a different geometry. And as a company, we do that better than anyone in the world, I really truly believe. And so that collaboration is important. So the ability to stand at the machine with the engineers, watch the tools run, look at the tools when they're done, evaluate them ourselves, and then say, hey, we need to try changing this, make a little change, and then we just save the customer more money. We do it quickly because we can do it right here in the US or in Germany, but our ability to adapt to difficult situations really puts us ahead of our competition.
Yeah, to add to that, I would say, you know, talking about collaboration, building trust with the customer. You know, it takes a lot to get a customer to trust you, but over time, you know, when you work on them with projects and you deliver, they start to trust you. If you kind of leave them holding the bag and you don't deliver, then they don't trust you so much anymore. So, and that's one of the nice things about working with Horn is we usually hit our delivery dates. If we tell you we're going to do something, we usually get it done. And like Todd said, working on the shop floor with customers to get their parts running, to help them understand how the tools work, that is definitely a plus with us.
I love that accountability aspect too.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's what customers want. They want to be able to trust you, and because they're answering to someone else as well. So,
And even going outside of the collaboration with our customers, you know, we do that on a daily basis. I mean, it's part of the core of what we do as sales personnel. But we also have a group of people with Horn here that are working with machine builders. I mean, we have a couple of guys that work very close with Citizen, DMG Mori, Traub, just that end of it. And having been in the industry for a long time, I've seen the differences between like cutting tools and what machines can do. It always seems to be that race to who can get faster.
Yep.
You know, how fast can I push a tool? Well, now the tool can outperform what the machine can do. So then we go back to the machine builders and say, hey, what can we do to do this? What can your machine do? How can we apply our tool with those machines to, again, take that next step forward in, 10 years down the road? I mean, you look at what PH Horn has done with machine builders in gear skiving. I mean, we just went through 2 hours of more training and kind of what the capabilities are with some of our partners, and being able to create gears in a third of the time it used to be with a broach type application or a hob. We're going so much faster. We're able to get forms that we were never able to do 10 years ago, and being able to get those finishes and get that part out the door so much quicker for our customers in the end. So if it wasn't tool companies like PH Horn working with, Mori or any of our other machine builders, we probably wouldn't be sitting here talking about this right now. So it is a all around us. It isn't just with us and our customers.
Love
I
that
can add a
aspect.
little bit
Sure.
to that, if you don't mind. One of the things that is really cool that's innovative of us is our grinding machines. So we were just told that we're on our 3rd generation. So not only are we improving our carbide, our cutting tools, and the geometries and the technology that does the cutting, but the machines that we grind our tools on is being improved yearly. We are working directly with the manufacturer of the grinding machines on what we need and what we want to make the tools faster, more accurate. So we're doing it on both ends, the technology for the customer, the end user, the carbide, but we're also doing it on our end to make the tools faster, better. So we're collaborating with the company that makes our machines instead of just saying, hey, we want to buy this machine that you sell that grinds tools. So we're able to implement ideas and strategies that we want to make our processes better by collaborating with the companies that make our machines.
I love that. Collaboration is key, right? And I really believe that in Industry 4.0, like that to me is the whole point, and really getting the people of the workforce, to be more collaborative as well. And that's kind of my mission as well and what I do. Well, for those that are listening in the audience today, I've got to ask you, what are some tips that you all have or some advice that you all have for manufacturing companies out there that are looking to push that edge of innovation in their products? What has worked for you all? What do you see other companies do that works for them? How do you come out to the leading edge of the pack in your field?
Goes back with the collaboration, reaching out to guys like us. The outside team for Horn is a very technical team, and then if our guys are unsure, not quite as familiar with a certain application, we got 30, 40 guys we can call on that can answer a question for us without question. We will know what we're talking about. So that's really important. The ability to collaborate and work with us and trust companies, build that relationship with us to where when we say something will work, you can trust that it's going to work. And don't be afraid to try it, because the only way you're ever going to move forward is trying new things. So I think that's really critical, and we do that well here. So.
Can add to that specifically. I get a lot of times I'll go into a shop and they're like, we've done it this way for 20 years.
Oh,
I mean, I don't have a lot of hair, but that you will pull that out every time. It's like, really, things have moved on so far in 2 years, let alone 20 years or 10 years ago. There's so much innovation, so much technology that's gone into cutting tools and processes. I mean, just the way we do things on a day-to-day basis isn't anything near what we were doing 20 years ago.
I don't still drive the same car that I had 20 years ago.
Well, yeah. Well, exactly.
Made the same way about either.
No, it's not.
All the parts are more difficult to machine.
No, they retool like every 5 years, don't they?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
But yeah, so what is that? How do you get your customers out of that mindset? That's a great follow-up question.
it can be a very challenging. It can be very challenging, especially when that process does work. It may not be the greatest, but hey, we've been doing it for 20 years. And we're like, right, but like you said, we're not driving the same car again. Some of those guys might still be driving that car from 20 years ago.
I mean, maybe, yeah, we
never know.
Pick on it.
But it's getting them to try it. Hey, you know what? Let me invest my time. I can bring in tools. I will show you. I will help you get there. Because I think getting past some of the objections is part of really trying to see what are the true objection. It might not be that I don't want to try this. It might be more of I'm not comfortable trying this. I don't know exactly how this is going to work. That's where we can come in and hey, we'll show you how to do this. And if it doesn't work, we stand by our tools. We absolutely stand by what we're doing. If I go into a shop and say, hey, we're going to run it at this, and it doesn't work, okay, you did what I asked you to do. I'm going to stand behind that and say, yep, let's reset and go forth and move together to make sure that we get this process nailed down. I'm not perfect. I'm absolutely not. And I make mistakes just like everybody else does. Let's do this together. Let's make it a team effort as we help you as my customer to move forward and get into the newest technology and move forward to make yourself more profitable.
Excellent. Absolutely. Any words on that?
Yeah, I would add to that. One of the things I always try to do when I go into a customer is listen to what they have to say, to try to understand the problem that they're having. Because sometimes, they may tell you that the problem is they're breaking this tool, but the reality is even if that tool wasn't breaking, they're still not making their production rates and things like that. So all these problems tend to stack up. And sometimes if you just listen and then ask, good questions, you can find out a lot more about what's really going on. And on the customer end, I would say, for customers, build a partnership with someone you trust, with a company you trust, and work together to try to make improvements in your plant. And I think when you do that and work together, I think you usually get better results.
Excellent.
I guess one of my things that I do to try to get people past that mindset is I like to do lunch and learns with the companies where I'll get all the engineers in a room and I'll do a presentation. And I'll use test data from, we have a whole file of all the tests we've performed, everything you need to know about it, tool life, material, everything. And I'll present that information. If we have videos, I'll share those. And getting in front of them and showing them this information in real time can really help change their viewpoint on what they want to do or what can be done and feel more confident in it. And it always brings up more conversations, more questions, more opportunities for other areas that just through discussion and just through building that relationship. So that's one of the things I like to do to get those customers that are kind of stuck in their older ways, is to just kind of show off a little bit for them how companies are doing it new ways and faster.
I love that. That's all great advice. Thank you all so much for that, for those answers there. So I guess I've got one more high-level question for you all during our conversation today, if you don't mind. But you all have each had your own career journeys at Horn. I don't know if you want to share any of that with us here today, what that's been like, what it means to you to be working for the company, and how you all have each and individually grown here at Horn and with the company.
I would say, I was in manufacturing for 15 years. Of course, I'm the senior guy here, obviously. And, I went to work for another cutting tool manufacturer, and I worked for them for 15 years. And so I have a pretty good background with some different companies. One of the biggest things about working for Horn is what I said earlier. It's a pretty good sized company, and we're continually growing in the U.S., but the thing they've managed to do is not lose that small company feel. And the company I was with before had 187 sales guys. And it did not feel like a small company. I mean, you were just a number. Here, everybody knows everybody. Everybody shakes everybody's hand at every meeting. Everybody talks to each other. Everybody hangs out. I mean, it's a real family here. And that's been the best part of working for Horn for me. So I think that answered your question. I was off base.
I'll agree. I started my machining career working for a family-owned company back home. I still remember when the president of that company came out, shook my hand as an apprentice, and said, "Hey, Brian, how you doing?" And I was like, "Hey, how do you know my name?" Where I can walk into here, and the very top level, Mike knows my name. Chad knows who I am just by looking at me. It is a family company. The owner, Mr. Horn himself, comes in, and you don't feel like you can go up and you can shake his hand and say, "Hi, how are you doing? Hey, how was your day?" So it is that family feeling. It isn't that corporate type setting that we have here. Even like amongst all of ourselves, if I have a question, I can always throw out an email to the entire force, and I get answers back. I get help. We all work together. And it isn't like, again, I worked for another cutting tool company before coming here, and it was just that. I could send out an email to the group to say, "Hey, I'm really struggling with that," and it would be crickets. I can send it out here, and in 5-10 minutes, I've got 15 different answers of, hey, you should do this, or hey, I had this situation similar. We did this. So it's a very welcoming group, and I continue to learn. I'm more of a milling type person. For the most part, Horn is known for turning. So I go to these guys and, hey, how would you do this? How can this tool work? And they're like, absolutely, we can do this, 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 and this. So it feels very small, but Horn is a very, very large company. It always blows my mind. We were just at Technology Days, and you walk in and you don't realize the presence that PH Horn has across the world as compared to what it feels like here in the U.S. We may not be that well known, but we're a scrappy little group here, and we're coming for you, all the other big guys, because we can do it. I mean, we have great tools, and we have a great force to help push that forward, and it's awesome. It really is. So, I mean, that's been my experience for the last 8 years working for Horn. It's been fantastic.
I love that. I am a champion of the underdogs. I love a good Cinderella story. So I think you all are doing an amazing job. And I really appreciate the time today. I appreciate you all participating in the podcast and having this conversation. I love high-level conversations like this. So thank you so much. For those that are listening in the audience today, could you all give them a good point of contact if you want to share that?
Yes. Again, my name's Todd DeMeyer. I work in the Southeast region. I'm located in Charleston, South Carolina. You can also go to our website and you can find our contacts there, or just call our 1-800 number and they'll get you in contact with whoever's responsible for your region.
And again, Eric Carbone. I live in northern Indiana, 6'1". I do a lot of work in medical, so always glad to look at those applications, but I also have a little background in aerospace and automotive.
Yeah, again, my name's Brian Winterlin. I'm up out of the Minnesota group. And yeah, I do mostly with the milling group with us. So if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call, and we'll help you out.
Excellent. And I'm assuming all of you are on LinkedIn.
Yes, I was going to recommend that too. You can look us up by our name on LinkedIn and it will have all our information there.
Perfect. And for those listening today, we will have all of their information linked in the show notes. So thank you all so much for joining me. I really appreciate being here in this beautiful facility. It's a beautiful day out here. And for those listening today, we appreciate you. And we will see you next time on Workforce 4.0.